Welcome to the e-learning video of HCL Uday Partner Management Portal. This video contains the end-to-end navigation for Project Finance role. In order to log into the application, you can simply type Uday in the app search option on My HCL. Select the appropriate option from the drop-down. The application will take you to the home screen of the tool. This is how the home screen would look like. On the left you have the section heading called Transactions, which will help the Project Finance to monitor and review data submitted by partner, perform data verification, manage payout requests, MOUs and projects. On the right, you have the navigation icon. The navigation icon shows the menu in the form of line items. Adjacent to the navigation icon we have the notification bell. Click on the notification bell to see the total count of notifications you have received. Project status shows number of projects running. Portfolio budget utilization shows utilization versus budget of all the assigned and running projects. It is now time to understand the data verification approval process. Once a data verification is initiated by PTM, it goes through different verifications conducted by thematic area-led, monitoring and evaluation, regional management and senior management. After all these approvals, it will land up in Project Finance queue for verification and approval. Let us understand how to take the process ahead. In this module, the data verification tasks will appear in these queues. All tasks that are pending for approval will appear in the In Progress queue. If the SLA for the In Progress tasks have been breached, it would land up in the Overdue tab. All the pending tasks where query has been raised by any of the stakeholder will be visible here. Pending tasks would mean all data verification tasks which has been initiated. All completed data verification tasks would be populated under the completed queue. If a data verification task is pending for your approval, you would get a notification as well. You can click on the notification bell. You can click here to take action. A project listing page would populate. Upon clicking on the I button, you can check the project-related details. You can view the data in full screen as well. Data verification needs to be performed for all the 4 data heads that has been submitted by the partner and verified by all the stakeholders. The data heads would include timeline, expense, monthly update and quarterly report. The timeline data is published first. You can click on the Gantt chart icon to view the data. A Gantt chart will be visible. From the top right corner, you can switch between different quarters. After checking the data submitted, you need to provide your agreement on the data pointers. Action can be selected as Agree. Remarks needs to be provided for each pointer. Once done with all the checklist pointers, you can click on Approve to submit the request. You can click on Save to save the changes that you have made. If you have any clarification from the PTM, you can click on Query and further enter your comments in the pop-up to raise a query. The query will be notified to the PTM. For confirming the approval, final approval remarks are required. You can enter the same in the free text field and submit. In a similar way, Expense tab can be opened and expenses can be verified. A budget versus expense sheet will be visible for verification. You can verify the actual expenditure, confirm your agreement on the checklist pointer and fill your remarks. Similar action buttons will be available. Click on Approve to move ahead. Let us now explore the Monthly Update tab. Monthly updates, entered for the total human and non-human beneficiaries, will be visible. After verification, you can share your agreements on the checklist. Once done, click on Approve. Let us now explore quarterly reports. Data filled by the partner in the quarterly report will be visible. You can scroll to the checklist pointers you need to fill your remarks. Once done, click on Approve. Now that we have approved the request completely, let us know the Tracker tab. The Tracker tab will show with which stakeholder the data verification task is pending. In order to raise a query for any clarification, you can click on the Query button. A pop-up window will ask for your comments. Fill up your remarks. Click on Submit. In this case, you can see the status in the tracker. The stakeholder who has raised the query will be available in yellow color. With this we have completed the functionality of the data verification module. Let us kickstart our demo with the end-to-end navigation of the payout module at Level 1 approval. At Level 1 approval stage, Project Finance from project's perspective needs to review the data verifications shared by the program team member and approve the request. The approved payout request would be assigned to Director CSR for the next level of approval. First we will understand the key status labels under the payout head. Let's scroll to the payout section. Any payout request raised by the PTM and pending with Project Finance will be visible in the Due tab. If the SLA has been breached for approval of the payout request, the same will be visible as an overdue task. All payout requests approved but pending with other stakeholders' approval will be visible under In Progress tab. All delayed requests will be visible under the Delayed tab. Similarly, all the paid requests will be visible under the Paid tab. Let us take action on one of the pending tasks for approval. A payout page will be open with a project listing. The name of the PTM, project name, thematic area, contract period, location, payment schedule and MOU will be visible. You can search for projects using the search option. You can also apply a filter using the icon on the right corner. For the ease of the user, you can also switch between different status labels from here. All the status labels will be visible in the drop-down. Let us explore the payment schedule. Upon clicking on the payment schedule link, a pop-up will appear. It will show all payment schedules, overall budget, due date, process amount and released amount if any for the respective payment cycles. On the right to the payment schedule, you can click on the MOU icon to view the document. Let us now take action on one of the projects. For taking actions, click on the Action button. A new window will open showing details of the payouts for each payment cycle. If you want to explore all the legal documents associated with the respective partner, the highlighted icon can be clicked. All the mandatory documents uploaded by the partner can be viewed. Each payment accordion will display the name of the project, PTM, thematic area, MOU signing date, location, installment amount, due date, payment type, status and data verification link. You can scroll towards the right to check the status and take action accordingly. For payment cycles for which payment has been done, the transaction detail will be active and will show transaction details. You can click on the I button under Status to see the status of the task, along with pendency and stakeholder-wise SLAs. The data verification is not required for the first payment cycle, hence the links are inactive. For all the subsequent payment cycles, the links will be active for the stakeholders' review. You can also see the checklist filled by each stakeholder. By hopping onto this icon, the status updated by each of the stakeholder including Project Finance, Corporate Finance, Internal Audit, Director CSR will be visible. Please note that as Director CSR is accountable for sharing opinion, in case of an exception only, the comments will be visible for checklist pointers for which exceptional approvals have been taken. Click on the History label to see to history of the checklist pointers. Date-wise sequence of history will be visible. For the payment schedules, wherein payouts have been released will have the transaction details link active. Let us explore and see what all details will be visible. On the pop-up window, you would be able to see the complete payment details including the released amount, mode of payment, etc. We would now be taking up Payment Cycle 2 for approving a payout request as a test case. Scroll towards the right to check the data verification key points and current status. You can click on the data verification points to check the details. For checking the status, click on the I icon. The pop-up window will showcase the pendency along with the SLA. Click on the payout request for taking action. On the payout request pop-up you would have three options. You can approve the request. You may also raise a query for getting any additional inputs from the PTM. While raising a query, you can type the query in the free text, upload documents and click on Query for PTM. You can check the history by clicking on the History tab. A sequential history will be visible. For approving the request, you can enter your approval comments. Once done, you can attach any supporting files from your computer. After attaching, click on Submit. System will auto-refresh, and the status will be marked as in progress, and will be pending at Director CSR, and the SLA would be 2 days. We would now be working upon Stage 2 approval for a payout request. At this stage Project Finance is accountable for filling up the checklist as per the MOU. Project Finance can accept each of the points in the checklist or get an exception from Director CSR for any of the points. Let us take an example and complete the process from one of the due payouts. On the project list page, click on the Action button against the project. The checklist button will be active at Stage 2 approval. The status of such requests will be due, pending with Project Finance. Click on the checklist. Each point of the checklist would have an option to select the action and filling your remarks. Remarks against each of the pointer would be mandatory. You may select the action from the drop-down. For raising an exception against any of the point, you can select Exception. Fill your remarks that you want Director CSR to refer. If exception is raised against any of the checklist pointer, the payout request will land up in Director CSR queue. Else, it would reach Corporate Finance for further approval. The comments entered will be visible to every stakeholder. Once you are done with all the checklist pointer, you can attach documents from your computer if any. Once done, you can enter your final comments. Click on Submit. The page will refresh. The documents attached will be visible here. The comments that you had entered would be visible under the History button. Click on the Back button to get out of the checklist page. You can check the status at this stage. The status will now be in progress. The request would be pending with Director CSR as we have raised an exception. The SLA will be 2 days. In case Project Finance has raised an exception, and response has been received from Director CSR, we will cover the process of approving such requests. For all such requests in the payout page, you can check the status. The status will be due. Click on the checklist. The checklist page would open. You need to select the action as agree for the pointer for which exception was raised. You need to provide comments for each of the pointers. Enter your overall comments. Click on the Submit button. The page would refresh. The status would now reflect as in progress. Click on the I button to see the next level of pendency and SLA. The task is now pending at Internal Audit and Corporate Finance team. The SLA for each of the stakeholder is 3 days. The overall SLA would also be visible. We would now discuss a scenario wherein either Internal Audit or Corporate Finance team has raised a query and the same needs to be addressed. As per the query raised by the respective stakeholder, based on the requirement, you can either raise an exception, refer the task back to the PTM for his inputs or share the inputs to the query via the tool. We will also see how you can check the status and understand the pendencies. If a query is raised by any of the stakeholder, you can directly action the same from the notification bell. Click on the notification bell. An actionable notification stating Payout Advise query will be visible. You can click here to take action. Payout page would open. You can see the status. Click on the I button. task would reflect as pending with Project Finance. You can click on the Action button to see the query. The comment shared by the stakeholder along with the attached file will be visible. You can share the response and, if required, raise a query for PTM by using this button. If you want to raise an exception request, as per the comments of Internal Audit or Corporate Finance, you can click on the Checklist button. Here you just need to change the action from Agree to Exception. Select the checklist pointer and change the action. Select Exception from the drop-down. Enter your remarks under each of the checklist pointers. Once done, you can enter your remarks. Then click on Submit. The page would auto-refresh. You can check the status. In case you have raised an exception, the status will show Exception from Project Finance. If the query is responded, the task will be pending with Internal Audit or Corporate Finance, depending on who raised the query. If you have clicked on Raise Query from PTM, the task will be pending with PTM. This is how the status would reflect if exception has been raised. The SLA will show that the task is pending with Director CSR. In this scenario, once you get the response from Director CSR, you will get an actionable notification. The exception is approved, and now you can share the response to the query raised by Internal Audit or Corporate Finance. You can click on the Payment Request button for the payment cycle. On the pop-up window, select the query for which you want to send the response. You can enter your comments. Once done, click on Query Response. The status will reflect as in progress, pending with the stakeholder who raised the query. Once both Internal Audit and Corporate Finance approve the request, the status of the request would be payment confirmation awaited. For completion of the payment request and releasing the payout, Project Finance needs to fill up the transaction details. For filling the transaction details, select the project from the project listed. You can check the status for the payment cycle. Upon clicking on the I button, you can see payment confirmation is pending. The transaction details link will be active. Click on the same. A pop-up window will appear. Fill the released amount. Select the mode of payment. The drop-down will show appropriate options. Enter the transaction number. Select the beneficiary name. Enter your overall comments. Once entered, click on Submit button. The status will get auto-updated. The same will be marked as paid. I button will reflect payment has been released. This brings us to the end of the Payout module. We will now take up the MOU Management module. MOU Management functionality enables the user to upload MOU document, define the payment cycles and respective amount. You can also cancel the MOUs through this functionality. The MOU is then reviewed by the monitoring and evaluation team. Please note that only once the MOU is approved, the partner can submit data against the project. Under the Review tab, click on the MOU option. The number reflecting over here suggests the number of MOUs pending for your review as Project Finance. Review MOU page would open for your action. You can also search for the project using the Search button. Different status of MOUs can be switched from here. The color code of different status is also present on the main page as highlighted. You can also apply filter via this option. For applying the filter, you need to provide at least one filter criteria. Let us now take action on one of the pending tasks. Click on the Action button. You will land up in the View or Upload MOU page. Please select the name of the project from the drop-down. All the projects under the partner would populate in the drop-down. One or multiple projects can be selected from here. For the added project, if you want to view the project details, click on the project name. A pop-up window will show the contact person's name, contract period, location type and name along with the thematic area. Enter the MOU signing date from the calendar. Then upload the document from your local computer. The uploaded document has to be a PDF file. Enter your remarks as it is mandatory. You can click on the Save button to view the MOU number. The MOU number gets generated based on the logic mentioned on the screen. Every MOU number begins with HCLF followed by the year, location and thematic area-wise number series. The number series are also highlighted on the screen. Please note that in case there are projects from more than one location in a MOU, the location would be taken as PAN by the application. In the test case, you can see the MOU number getting populated and grayed out. Now you can define the payment schedule. First of all, payment type has to be selected as pre or post activity. Define the milestone. Location name can be picked. Thematic area. Payment due date can be selected from the calendar. Lastly, enter the amount. Then click on Add. The payment schedule gets added. Furthermore, payment schedules can be added for each of the payment cycle. Once all the payment schedules are added, you can click on the Save button to save the changes made. In order to make any changes in the payment schedules, you can use the Edit button. Click on the Submit button once you are completely sure of the details filled in. Please note that the application will allow you to submit the data only when the total budget of the project matches the sum of the payment schedules. System will ask for a final confirmation. The request will go to the monitoring and evaluation team for approval. Let us take up a scenario wherein monitoring and evaluation team has referred back the task. The task will reflect as read in the MOU list. You can click on Action to make changes as per the M&E remarks. Scroll down to the Remarks column for reviewing the comments. The last comments will be visible here. You can make edits as per the suggestions. If payment schedules are modified, once done, click on Update. You can enter your remarks and click on Submit. The system will ask for a final confirmation. The sequence of remarks entered can be viewed under the History tab. You can view the comment history. Review the same. You can also discard a MOU. In order to discard a MOU, you can click on the Action button. In order to discard a MOU, you simply need to delete the project. However, the application will throw an error if the payment schedules are still there for the marked project. Click on the cross icon to delete respective payment schedules. Once all of them have been deleted, you can click on Delete to discard the MOU. A pop-up window will appear to confirm your action. All discarded MOUs can be viewed from the Discarded option. Click on the Discarded option to view the list. This is how the list would populate. With this, we have completed all the aspects of the application for a project finance role. This brings us to the end of our video. Hope you had a happy learning.